Live from my basement, two big brains. Sterling just left Colts camp. This is going to be breaking news. What do we got?
Shaq Leonard does not like our artificial turf, and Ryan Kelly doesn't either. We found those things out yesterday and today.
Do we care what Shaq or Ryan Kelly think? See, I want to win, and then I care.
Well,
I
get it.
Are they just piggybacking on what the NFL says? I've not heard either of these guys say anything about the turf until, you know what, it became a big deal nationally.
Nobody asked.
Oh.
I don't think people asked, but Ryan Kelly is like a vice president of the NFLPA.
All right.
So, yeah. But he says that everybody feels like shit after a game. Shaquille said, yeah, you feel like shit after you play on it. So...
Well, then I don't understand. Like, you and I grew up in an era where those cookie cutter stadiums, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Cincinnati.
Right.
I remember being on the field one time at Cincinnati, and it was literally like a carpet on a cement floor. Now they're pretty good, but I'm with you. I don't understand why we've got hundreds of millions of dollar athletes and you can change something very simple to help them out.
Yeah.
This isn't hard.
Yeah, it's not hard. You can solve this problem pretty easily. And the Colts are in the process of it. They're going to change out their turf to a safer brand of turf for next year. It costs $1.4 million, which is like Luke Rhodes, the long snapper. You're spending Luke Rhodes' salary to upgrade and make everybody feel better about playing football. It is easy.
Yeah, you know, one of the things going back, the guys on Outkick that do an afternoon show in Nashville, they were all over Tennessee, and now they're on Outkick. But at the time when Derrick Henry got hurt, I was on their show, and they were like, "Look, everybody in the NFL seems to think that the Colts turf is garbage, and that's why Derrick Henry got hurt." Now, who knows? You know, I don't know if these guys know. I don't know, but I've never really heard one way or the other whether the Colts turf is good or bad. I just know now turf is no good now.
It's the one that people complain about the most, and people with his turf are being asked by the NFL to upgrade.
And it makes it's like this. I said, if you want to make things easier for players, you went through this. Your son played at Loyola. Just give parents free parking. It's an easy thing. If you're on scholarship or a walk-on, just give them free parking.
Yeah.
Just do the simple things. 1.4 million. I was looking at this, and you probably know
removing things for them to bitch about.
Yes.
Right.
And players are too. You know, you can roll up the turf, grass, put it out, and then roll it back in. It's because you have a dome stadium. You don't always have to have the window open because you can't always have the window open because there's no drainage.
Right.
So science is such that we can have grass. You know, people go, it's a dome. No, science is such that we can have grass and it doesn't have to be there all the time now.
Evidently, you can, like in Phoenix or Glendale, they've got it on a pallet.
Right, pallet.
And they slide it out.
Yes.
It rains or they water it, they slide it back in. And evidently, I've been schooled up on this from people on my channel who are commenting. You've got hydroponics.
Yes.
I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
Evidently, you can grow grass without soil. I don't know, okay, somehow or another, all this can be worked out by bigger... You don't need to be Sheldon Cooper to figure it out, but somebody with a bigger brain than us.
Well, we have two big brains, and...
it's not going to be easy to find.
We thank you for joining. Today, we're sponsored by Just Add Water Boats. There's a beautiful boat out there. If you're looking for boats, go see Just Add Water Boats. It's my boy Keith Hockett. Great dude, not good. Great dude. All right, game one in the books. I'm going to go first on Richardson. I'm good with Anthony Richardson.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's great, but who expected the guy to be great? Who expected him to be, I don't know, you can't say Peyton Manning because Peyton ain't good as a rookie. I thought Anthony Richardson, to me, looked like a guy in game one that was worth a fourth pick if you're going to draft a quarterback.
Let me ask you this about Anthony Richardson. Every time we stand at his locker, we listen to him talk. He sounds like a really sane person. Michael Jordan was never sane. Peyton Manning, not sane. Tom Brady, not sane.
Yeah.
Can you be a sane person who says, I don't worry about the outside noise, and he means it? I just work real hard. I take care of me.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Can you be that kind of guy and be a champion?
This reminds me of the conversation I had with Fred Glass. I said, Fred, why don't you just hire a sane human being as the coach at Indiana?
Yeah.
Well, you got to be a little crazy to be a coach. No, you don't. No, you don't. If I didn't get everybody hurt, I'd be the coach in Indiana, and I'm a sane human being. It reminds me of that conversation. It's the same thing I told Scott Dolson. I'm like, oh, I see. I'm like, hey.
Is that right?
Yeah. I'll stand by my sanity. I'll stand by it, damn it. But no, it's like, you have to be a fanatic at your work. And you tell me, I read all these articles that this guy's in the building 8 hours, this guy, you got to be fanatical. I don't care whether you're a coach, you're a broadcaster, I don't care. If you want to be successful in business, you better be fanatical about it. And I hope he is what we're being told, Kent, because he's got talent. If he's fanatical about the work, then I think he's got a real shot to be here 10 years and have a great career.
You know, one guy that I was thinking about is I tried to find, like you can find the psychotics, like Manning and Jordan and Brady. Joe Montana,
seems sane.
I think, was a sane person and remains a sane person. So there are guys who are sane and have done it.
The one thing I would ask, though, is behind the scenes. Like, people are different behind the scenes. We've seen where now Dabo Swinney comes off as this religious guy, but he's MFing everybody behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Even Biden, people see him as this grandfatherly old man, but I guess he's MFing everybody. You just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm the opposite. Bob Knight, when I tell people, Coach Knight's hilarious. Yeah. No way, because you don't see that, right? If you're not paying attention. So I just always wonder, or how sane. It seemed like Dan Marino was a sane human being. It seems like Patrick Mahomes is a sane human being. Patrick Mahomes doesn't seem like a whack job.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll give you this about Richardson, and this was yesterday. And this is maybe me reading into it a little bit too much. But he's at his locker. The media's coming in. And you got to go quick. You got to be rolling when you walk in, because Anthony Richardson is going to start. He's at his locker when we come in, and he's going to start answering questions immediately. Mm-hmm. Doesn't wait for everybody, which is good. Michael Pittman Jr. comes up, puts his arm around Richardson, and goes, you got to know this about this man. He bought everybody on the team headphones. And Richardson clearly was a little bit peeved that Pittman brought it up and told him with a little glint in his eye, get out of here. And he meant it.
Yeah.
And so this is a quarterback, a rookie quarterback, 21 years old, telling his third-year wide receiver, or fourth year, get out of here, and meaning it. And I liked it.
I like that for him. I don't like that for Pittman. That means Pittman doesn't have the total respect of a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
It's like when Ballard bragged about Quentin Nelson MFing him on
that was no good.
That was no good. And Ballard thought it was good. There's always two sides to things, and maybe I'm looking at that wrong, but
could we call a straight run? Yeah, okay. How's that good for a leader? How does that paint him positively? That was so bad.
But anyway. To your point though, you want the quarterback to be the guy.
Yeah.
If I had a choice between a fourth year okay wide receiver to good, he's fine, or a quarterback that it knows, look, this isn't a vacuum. Richardson knows it's his team. Richardson knows I'm the fourth pick in the draft. Richardson knows I'm a freaking athlete. This team sucked, probably sucks around me. He knows that. He make no mistake about that kind of shit. He knows.
At what point, because you've gone through this as a freshman with kind of a senior-laden team, or there are a bunch of juniors with Whitman and Kitchell. Can a freshman get up? Can a rookie quarterback, even an important one, get up and say, look, God, you guys better get your ass moving. We better get some of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
I did it at Northwestern. First time Bob Knight's team lost to Northwestern was my freshman year. And we're in Dyke Stadium because it was being renovated. It was freezing, and we just lost. And Knight's in the back here. It's kind of all open. He's to get the media in here. I'm quitting. I'm retiring. Blah 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 blah. And Jimmy Thomas, who I had a ton of respect for, starts talking about you guys this, you guys that, and he had done that a number of times.
Yeah.
And finally, I just unloaded, motherfucker. I don't fucking want to hear blah blah blah. Fuck you, fuck women. Everybody. You guys are the fucking leaders. All I ever hear is you guys and blah and they were like taken aback. And Thomas, who stuttered a lot, and Whitman and Kitchell, they were taken aback. And I see out of the corner of my eye, Coach Knight's coming this way. And I'm mother blanking everybody. So I figure one of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to start every game from that point on, or certainly the next one, or I'm going to get kicked out of here and you're a freshman, shut your mouth. Shit, I know I started the next game after that. But you can't, let me just, so it was real. So you asked me my own personal experiences, but it was real. I just had enough.
Right.
I wouldn't have done that to start the season.
And this wasn't contrived.
No.
This wasn't like, this is my opportunity.
It cannot be, hey, I've been waiting to do this, and now here's my, no. It was a spur of the moment. It was one of those out-of-body experiences that sometimes you have with your kids where you're like, oh, shit, this sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, you can. And if I'm him, look, Jimmy Cruz told me something interesting. He said, we were going to the NCAA tournament as a freshman. He goes, how many opportunities do you think you're going to get to play in the NCAA tournament? I said, 4. He goes, no, you got 1 this week.
Yeah.
You don't know what next year's coming. You don't know.
Right.
And you as a freshman, your career is the same as a senior's. So that's how I've always kind of looked at it, and that's how I look at it with Richardson.
Yeah.
This is year 1 of him, year 4 of Pippen, but who cares? You can get hit by a bus tomorrow. You can get Aaron Rodgers and never come back from it.
Right.
So what you're talking about, I'm enthused about Richardson.
I like him a lot. He's I want to say it's the right way. It's not that he's comfortable with the media. He's comfortable with himself when he's in front of the media.
Explain what you see. Explain what you see to make you say that.
He's just him. Like, you ask him a question, you get an answer. It's not all these platitudes. It's not like the Frank Reich playbook of cliches where we've got to come out and stack days, or Andrew Luck would do the same thing. This is a guy who's just talking to you. And he feels good enough about who he is just to share what he feels. And it's really, really good. I love the guy. Like, he checks all the boxes for me, on the field, off the field. I know off the field doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot if you're on the field and really good. Yeah. But he is really the kind of guy I would like to be my quarterback.
Let me go this route with you, though. On the field, miss some throws.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the knock. Now, is it a norm? Your mind, you're there every day. You're there in all the, in your mind is the expectation, and I think this is important for him, to improve dramatically over the next, let's say, 4 weeks? Or is it this issue with his bit of an inaccuracy, it's going to take a little longer now?
Our expectation.
Or your expectation.
Mine is that he just keeps doing what he does in a way where we do see some kind of tangible evidence of improvement. But I want him to keep the same attitude. I don't want to see like sunken shoulders and like, oh no. Yes. Or like with Luck and the banging of the helmet and all that, the theatrical crap. I want to see, here's the thing about the guy that I really like, and I like about his humility, is he wants to learn from Steichen, Coach Sane, Coach Cam, and Coach Jim Bob.
That's what he calls him?
Yeah, it's always Coach. No, he does. Coach Cam told me blah, blah, blah. So he wants to learn from these guys, and I think he's humble enough to do it their way and not be a poor behavior student because he holds himself to you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's important. I think you've got to keep a good attitude during the learning, and I think he's exactly the kind of guy who will.
All right, I'm going to throw something out to you. I was driving back. We were in Bloomington. We took Tegan's and her senior friends on the softball team out to lunch, and then when driving back, I listened to the first half of the Colts game, maybe just after halftime. And Ventura, I got to say one thing. Mate and Ventura are fantastic.
Yeah.
They're and Lara too. They're fantastic.
100%.
Right? They're just so good, and Rick is such a great combination of unafraid. I mean, what the hell's he got to be afraid of? But enthusiasm, knowledge, teaching. But here's something they said before it even happened. Said the Colts led last year in fourth quarter deficiency, meaning they were outscored by 63 points in the fourth quarter, most in the NFL. They got outscored 14-0. And when it really came to nut cutting time, you know what? Lawrence took them down the field to beat their ass.
Yeah.
And I say, again, this is hyperbolic. Take this for what it's worth. It's relative to the NFL. It's not relative to normal people. I say that's an indication that the Colts are soft. Now, Zaire Franklin isn't soft, he's tough as hell, but relative to other teams that seem to turn it on in the fourth quarter, you had a history last year, you had an opportunity this year, and you shit the bed. That ain't good.
I think you got to be able to run the football. And Steichen always says, hey, you throw to score, you run to win. I think if they had a running back who could go get you a first down or 2 first downs, they win that game.
But they don't. So now you got to figure. But the defense had to figure it out.
That's big trouble.
That was Swiss cheese going down there at the end when they needed a score against the Colts defense.
Yeah, that 4th down play was just huge. That was, I think, inside their own 10.
Get the 4th down.
I thought that the defense played pretty well the entire game.
I did too.
I thought Buckner and Stewart were awesome. I thought Franklin, and that's what we talk about, the interconnectivity of positions on the offensive side. If you got defensive tackles that need to be doubled, you're going to have a linebacker get 18 tackles. That's a big deal. But this they've got to learn how. I was thinking about you when I thought this, because it is you. You've got to learn how not to lose before you learn how to win.
Man, it's always tough. It's always tough. Like, sometimes some teams, particularly young teams, and this is a young team, doesn't know what they don't know, so they don't need all that. They just go and we made a stop. Oh shit! All of a sudden we're 3-1. Oh hell, we're winning. I swear to God, I always equate shit to me, but that's how we were when we get lost to you guys in New Albany. All of a sudden, hell, we're 10-0. No kidding. What the hell happened here? Because you're just playing.
Right.
And that's where I hope, and this is what Northwestern has always fought in basketball. The great Ricky Birdsong told me the hardest thing about winning at Northwestern isn't recruiting. It's just everybody's so damn used to losing.
Yeah.
And you don't want that for the Colts. When you go 4 in a lifetime and you have the ending that they have and you haven't been in the playoffs and all the things that I've talked about, you've talked about, and now you start out and you have a hell of a deal where Buckner returns it for a touchdown and you feel good and you got this new energy, and boom.
Yep.
You can't get comfortable with that, and that's coaching.
Yeah.
That's where Steichen in his first year needs a couple dudes around him that understand, look, whatever you got to do, I don't care. Bob Knight would have a 5 a.m. practice and try to kill us. I would have a 6 a.m. because I like to sleep later, practice and try to kill us. But you got to figure that out as that's real coaching.
What is the consequence? Is that the thing? What's the consequence to losing that gets the attention and makes people want to lose less than do whatever that is?
Whatever being uncomfortable is.
Yeah.
Whatever that team, that you can't walk into Monday, or when they all meet up again, like Tuesday in the NFL, or Tuesday's the off day? Monday, yeah.
And then they're off
You
Tuesday.
can't walk in there and feel like nobody in the building is pissed off or disappointment. Nobody needs to break stuff. No, you got to correct and move on. You have to. But when you've lost this much, look, the Kansas City Chiefs can correct and move on.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The Colts have to be in, what's DEFCON? Is 5 worse than 1, or is 1 worse
than 1? 1
than
is, it's over.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 is everybody's calling.
Okay. You can't be in DEFCON 1. Because you lost, but you got to be in DEFCON 2 or 3. You cannot be comfortable,
and you need somebody within the room, right, to set that tone.
So who's the talker? Darius Leonard or Shaq Leonard? If Shaq Leonard's real, defense Zaire Franklin seems real.
Yep.
Buckner, my issue with Buckner a couple years ago with that. If they're real, that's exactly right. They will get it solved. And now here's the other thing. Here's where
you need an offensive line.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
You got this offensive line that, other than the left tackle, pretty much been together.
Yeah.
There should be zero trepidation on any of their parts to call people out, make it uncomfortable, slam a helmet. We're not going through this shit. I'm just telling you, we are not going through this same bullshit. Whatever you got, that should be automatic out of that crew.
Yeah.
Like, that, to me, is something that should be a strength of the Colts.
Last week I was talking to Wesley French, of all people.
Oh, yeah.
He's a backup offensive lineman, and the reason I was talking to him, I was talking about shin tattoos, that nobody seems to have shin tattoos. They got them all over everything else, but not on shins. But he's got a tattoo
on the shin.
Yeah. So I was talking to him about that, and then we were talking about football, and this was not recorded. And he was talking about the business of football. He said, you really have to balance your love of the game with the business surrounding the game. And I was like, oh, boy, is that a big deal that nobody talks about. Nobody talks about money with the media ever. The business. Business is really, really good for Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, and Braden Smith. Not to pick on them, DeForest Buckner too, Shaq too.
Right.
But business is really good for those guys, whether they go 4-12-1 or 14-3.
That's what I've been saying about whether you like Grigson or not. But the Grigson-Irsay tandem said, we're not extending you until we have to.
Yeah.
And we talked about this last week. You and I have both seen, man, this dude's got 20 home runs. He's hustling. He's got 20 stolen. Wait a second. Is he in a contract? Yeah, he's in a contract year.
The Cody Bellinger rule.
Yes, he's the poster child this year. But you're so right. You know, we see business decision. We saw it with Marvin Harrison. You know, he would dive down. You know,
the burrowing was,
And T.Y. Hilton picked that up. But you're right. I mean, you know, let's take Wesley French. Wesley French, backup guard, probably, or tackle, whatever he is probably making more money now than he'll ever make in his life.
Right.
And he would like to keep that train rolling so that when he does get out, he don't have to work till he's 110. It's you know, once you get that monster contract, like if I would think differently if I was Quentin Nelson. Let me ask you, if I were Quentin Nelson, I'd be like, all right, everything's set. I'm all pro. I got money. I just want to go win Super Bowls and fuck it.
Yeah.
That's how the pressure's off.
Yeah. For me,
how would it be?
Because I'm an idiot. I don't like to see money. I don't like to think that because I do X, I get paid Y. I just do X because I really enjoy X. I don't do very well when I equate cash with performance.
Well, I'm saying Quentin Nelson doesn't have to.
Right. I wouldn't have done it at any point.
Oh.
I'd been like, Julie, you keep an eye on the numbers, and I'm going to go play football. We're going to go win championships. Let's go. Hey! Like some kind of a child.
Yeah, I totally get that. I do. I get that. However,
I wouldn't feel like I had accomplished anything because I got the big contract with a bunch of zeros.
No, I wouldn't either. I totally get that. But when you break down, you know, your career, particularly in your 20s, you know, if you're smart, I always did it. It's like, all right, I better save some. I did. I'm like, and I never wanted to see money either. In fact, my first wife didn't even give me the passcodes to our Fifth Third bank account, for crying out loud. But, you know, then I got divorced and I brought my dad in. I go, hey, I got to figure this shit out, right? But when you're when you are coaching or you're playing, there's a certain external pressure. I don't want to get cut if I'm a player, right? I want to start if I'm a player. I want to win. I want to coach, all that. Really, the external pressure on Smith and Kelly and Nelson, it's off. They're starters.
Right.
They don't worry about that. They're comfortable financially. Don't have to worry about that. What they got to do is win.
Yeah.
And I would, if I were Nelson, if Nelson's a real guy and he's a badass and all this stuff that everybody tells me, he should, at this point in his career, have that locker room by the throat.
Yeah.
My opinion.
And there's the Cindy Sandberg rule also.
Don't screw your next door neighbor.
Well, there's that. But it's that you better make enough money to keep the woman who saw you as kind of the source of cash. You better find a way to make enough money to keep her happy, or she is going to wander off.
I will give you the phrase to Davey Martinez's house.
Yeah.
The lifestyle with which she is accustomed.
That's exactly right.
But so, do you disagree with my premise that the Colts in these fourth quarters, I say there's a cultural problem right now until they get it solved. There's a softness in it again.
Until they prove it's not. Absolutely.
Because that's a big statistic.
Yeah.
You know, what does Rick Venturi always say? Fourth quarter, it's players, not plays.
Right.
Well, if it's players, not plays, your players are now, over the last year in a game, minus 77 in terms of fourth quarter, which leads the NFL. You got to get that figured out.
You got to find a way. And people blame it on fatigue. And I think that's crap. Look, if you're not in shape enough to play 60 minutes of football, to take like 55 snaps defensively. I'm tired of hearing it.
Yeah,
I don't buy it.
Just do me a favor. When you get really tired, give us your debit card and we'll start making withdrawals from your freaking bank account. But
you'll find a way.
All right, let me go this route.
Yeah.
I don't think the wide receivers are very good.
No.
Where's Alec Pierce? 1 catch, 5 yards. Where are we at here?
Well, and so this I kind of like about Steichen, because what are you going to say? But I think somebody, hopefully behind the scenes, is holding these guys accountable. He said that's on him. He's got to get Pierce and he's got to get Pittman involved earlier, which I think is total nonsense. But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got who they got, I don't even know. I don't even know who, like they activated a guy. I don't know who that human being is. I wouldn't recognize him if he was on your deck.
They got rid of Mike Strawn again.
Mike Strawn is gone, and now he is back under the watchful eye of Frank Reich.
Is he back in Carolina?
Yeah.
Well, then
he's on the practice squad in Carolina.
By the way, side note, Frank Reich got his ass beat again, which shows you that Frank Reich is exactly who he told you he was.
It's unbelievable to me that people continue to come to his defense. I sat there for years listening to this guy, wax rhapsodic about nonsense. I mean, sheesh.
I had that guy, what was the little guy? Jay Glazer, argue with me on Twitter that he's an elite coach. I go, okay. I don't know. But that has to be figured out. And look, I don't know if I'm going to blame Reggie Wayne. We always blame coaches. Reggie Wayne gets hired and, he's great for the room. All I see is Reggie Wayne putting out on Twitter that he wishes he was in Miami or he's doing a signing at the local marsh, which isn't even there anymore.
Let me ask you a question about wide receiver coaches. Reggie Wayne, going to be a Hall of Famer. Marvin Harrison, a Hall of Famer. Brandon Stokely was pretty good. Who was their wide receiver coach?
That's right. I don't know.
I don't know either. I think it was Clyde Christensen.
Had to be. Howard Mudd. He swung over outside. But that's exactly right. Was there a legendary wide receiver coach with Jerry Rice and Taylor? Was there a legendary wide receiver with Stallworth and Lynn Swann? I mean, come on.
I can't recall
the wide
receiver coach's name.
Of course. Zach Arazi was the wide receiver coach at Bowling Green, and the only reason I knew it is because I want to smack him in the head because he tried to get one of my players to go out for football. And now he's in the NFL somewhere, like with the Chiefs. Yeah.
It's like crazy, who is it? Charlie Coles down at Miami trying to get Roethlisberger to play, and Hefner was like,
"Oh God, no!
Are you on your mind? What's the matter with you, Charlie?"
I gave Roethlisberger was at my camp. I give him a scholarship. 10 minutes into seeing him, and I'm looking around. Everybody's telling me what a great football player is, and the Bowling Green coaching staff isn't there to watch our camp and watch him play.
Wow, no kidding.
I think another college did. It may have been Miami came in to watch because they knew he was there, and. I don't know. I think. But I remember calling up Gary Blackney, the coach, going, are you guys nuts? I know this guy.
Right.
And then next thing you know, Blackney's out, Urban's in, and Roethlisberger and some kid receivers killing him. But all right, let's go back to it, though. So you have talked about a lot the left tackle.
Yeah.
Raymond, how'd you think?
I thought he was really good.
Okay.
Like on, not to pick out a specific play, because everybody looks good on one specific play. But the Pittman touchdown. So his job and Nelson's job on that play, you come off the snap, you kind of bend to the right to sell a run right, and then boom, you go into the secondary and find the right guy to hit. Ryman, about 20 yards downfield, kept a guy from getting to Pittman. He's athletic as hell. He's a very diligent guy. He's got kind of a European mindset where he's happily hardworking, if that makes sense. And that's he added 15 pounds just like they wanted him to. I love Bernard Ryman. I think he's terrific.
I watched that play, and one of the things that hit me with that play, we always say that the combine doesn't matter. Why are we doing these drills? Well, you could see that he had to get down the field.
Yeah.
And you can't be slow, or I would bet you like if we had Coach Venturi on and we showed him that play, he would go, see, that's why it's better to run the cone drill in 3.3 as opposed to 3.5. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something like
right.
that.
Absolutely.
It hit me when I watched him because I'm like, wow, that's why that thing matters.
And he played tight end for a couple of years at Central Michigan, switched to tackle, and people were like, why are you drafting a tight end? Well, they felt like he could hang some muscle. We bust on Ballard quite a bit, but taking him at 77, really, really good. He saw something, it works, and you've got a guy who isn't going to be satisfied. I don't think there's any satisfaction to that guy.
Good.
I think he's going to continue to work.
Well, the best thing about him should be the guys that he's lining up with. Again, I go back to leadership of Nelson, leadership of Kelly, Braden Smith. Look, if Braden Smith just wants to be a good old farm boy and not be a leader, then he needs to go somewhere else because, you know, everybody always talks about offensive line and cohesion. Well, it isn't just the left guard because he's paid. It isn't just the right guard because it's the cohesion. The entire group, all 5 guys. Let's go. And, you know, to me, Raymond should elevate his game very quickly by being with those guys. That's how I would look at it.
As long as they're setting a great standard of work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're paid like it, and they seem to be. You know, I can bitch and moan about taking Quentin Nelson 6th or, you know, whatever they're paying. Okay, fine. But, okay, he's here. And at least according to his peers, his first few years, he was considered an all-pro.
Yeah.
So if that's truly the case, now you got a chance to be an all-pro and a leader of a young guy and a leader of a team. It's a pretty good place to be, in my opinion.
I agree. And I think that those guys, I don't know what the disconnect was with Strasser, the offensive line coach, but man, those guys sing the praises of Tony Sperano Jr. like he is the second coming of Howard Mudd. And it's about togetherness, and it's about communication. And when they fall apart, it's because they didn't communicate well. But I don't understand why, after all this time together, they aren't communicating. I don't know why they would, on occasion, not communicate well.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good question. I mean, you know, I would be curious because a lot of times you throw out words to the media. We didn't communicate well. All right, we didn't read our gap, whatever you want to say. But is that twice a game and 98% of the time you're doing it right, but we're throwing you know what I mean? I'm not smart enough to know that. All right, I got to ask you about another position group that you have been bringing up, the cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I thought they were okay. Like early in the game, Ridley was a big problem.
Yeah.
But then you have Gus Bradley saying, look, we had to figure out how they were going to use him. Once we figured out how they used him, then we adjusted and it was fine. But I think Jalen Jones, who I talked to today, really nice guy. Hey, he's a military kid, a military brat who lived for 4 years in Japan. Really thoughtful, nice guy. I enjoyed talking to him, but he screwed up several times. Yeah. And you got that problem. But I think Flowers and Baker, I think that they were okay, more or less.
How about Brent?
He didn't play.
That's right.
But he's in the locker room now, so whatever personal matter he was... I don't understand personal matters. When my dad died, I get a call from 8:30 in the morning, and we had this is terrible. We had a basketball game at noon. Ryan did, and I had to coach. So Mom calls, and she's hysterical and says, you better get down here if you want to see him. But he was already passed, and I didn't want to see that. I said, I got to coach a basketball game. I'll be there as soon as I can after the game. Okay. I went and coached a basketball game that Ryan was going to play with some kids from Terre Haute and didn't go take good care of my mom while my dad was being cremated. That's not my most glorious moment, but I don't miss. I never missed a practice. I never missed a game, no matter what I was playing. I would go to the ballpark where we were going to have like a baseball camp. And the rule was if there was standing water on the infield skin, they weren't going to have camp. So I took a damn rake. I went out there at 7:30 and raked the infield so there was no standing water.
Damn right.
I don't miss stuff, and I don't understand people who do.
Ken, how do I put this? Because, you know, world is so sensitive now, but the last thing in the world I want is a rookie that misses the first game because of personal issues.
Whatever it is.
You know, Stetson Bennett, the quarterback from Georgia, they just put him on some wacky...
The NFI list.
What does that mean?
Well, it means it's a non-football injury, inactive list that takes him off the roster for 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean...
That's a problem.
No, and after the rest this summer.
Yeah, I don't know it sounds like Stetson was making bad decisions that need to be addressed.
Well, at Georgia, you can make bad decisions, particularly driving a car.
Lots
I mean,
of
those idiots got guy. But no, that's the last. I swear to you, like, this is why I like Richardson. Uber talented, uber pumped up, uber hyped. All right, let me ask you: would you be absolutely stunned if a personal issue came up of his doing?
Oh, yeah.
Stunned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying that somebody close to him didn't die. That's not his doing. You get what I'm saying.
Right.
He caused an issue to not be on the field because of him.
And they're really good about that, more or less. Like the Colts, they probe that kind of thing, and they try to get into decision-making and make sure that these guys don't have that kind of
Well, they missed on Brent's.
predisposal.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Again, it's hard to say.
You know what? He also ran a 4.53 40. I don't understand what stood out other than length where they were like, we got to go get that guy.
No.
I don't get it.
Well, he's from here.
Yeah, we always need, they love local guys.
So, but all right.
And that's unfair. We don't know what it is.
Unfair, yeah.
And maybe he winds up being a baller and plays really, really
and we
well.
hope he does.
Yeah, we do.
People always say, I'm so critical of Colts, you must hate him. I want them to be good.
Right.
I want them, people say, well, you kill the president, you crush him all the time. I go, I want him to be good. I want everybody to be good. But hey, look, if you're not, then that's our job. We're going to talk honestly about it. Running back's a mess.
We do the same thing with our kids.
Right.
Tough love.
Tough love, baby. I got to ask you, the running back situation.
Ooh.
Is this, other than Jonathan Taylor, is this solvable?
No. No, it's not. There's nobody out there that you can go get. You can't. There's a reason these guys are on the street. Whether it's Leonard Fournette or whether it's Kareem Hunt or whoever it is. There's a reason they're unemployed. They're not going to come in here and all of a sudden be the second coming of Jonathan Taylor. I think it's complete malpractice that, like 4 weeks prior to the season, Moss breaks his arm, and you say to yourself, Deion Jackson, Jake Funk, and Evan Hull are they're gonna be that's craziness. You can't do that. And he does that. He will not be pressured by a bad situation into taking a risk. And that drives me crazy.
What's the bigger risk? Kareem Hunt or going with these guys to start the season?
And that's exactly right.
I mean,
exactly.
But
he won't make a bad deal. He won't make a deal that he's going to be held accountable for.
That's it. Right there. Right there.
Yeah.
He won't make a deal that Ballard, we're talking about Ballard, won't make a deal that Ballard is going to be held accountable for.
Who is a bad free agent signing that he's made? Where's he screwed up in free agency?
Where's he gotten anybody good?
None.
Oh.
Zero. He doesn't play.
I will say this. By not, follow my logic. This is Dan Dockett's logic. By not going and get a running back and going into the season with Hull and Deion Jackson and the other guy, you're actually supporting Jimmy Irsay's claim that running backs don't matter. And it bit you in the ass because you're right. They didn't have anybody could run out that damn clock.
Yeah. And now you got Jonathan Taylor and his agent kind of rubbing their hands together saying, ooh, if the phone rings, do I pick it up? You know what I mean?
I do.
Like, well, just let these idiots stew in their own juices.
I do. Look.
Idiots is a strong word. And I wasn't using that specifically toward Jim Irsay or Chris Ballard. They're not idiots.
No, they're smart guys
that's Jonathan Taylor talking.
That have screwed this up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his agent talking for sure.
Yeah.
Because his agent is smarter than anybody in the world. Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't know the end game. All right, so now the Texans, look, there are must-win games, and then they're like, hey, fellas, let me tell you something. I don't give a shit what we got to do. We ain't losing this one.
Right.
Because C.J. Stroud didn't look any good. C.J. Stroud didn't look like a guy that should be drafted, certainly not ahead of Anthony Richardson. And he just looked like a guy to me.
0-2 can become 0-4 so quickly for this group. And at 0-4, it's adios. Yeah, you must beat the Texans. And it's kind of comparing the quarterbacks. We asked Richardson about it yesterday. And he said he doesn't worry about any of that. He said, and this is why I love him, because he'll rat himself out. He said, I did that once, and I'm not doing it again. And somebody said, with who? He goes, Will Levis. I competed against Will Levis, and it cost me.
Is he talking about in the draft, or is he talking about in Florida?
Florida, Kentucky.
Oh, I
that
got
game.
You. Oh, okay.
He went in there to show everybody that he was the guy and not Will Levis. And
which is really stupid, because in basketball I can compete against you. You guard me, I guard you. But in football, I'm playing against the defense.
Right.
Like human nature says you do. Like nobody in the world. I don't care. Nobody in the world can't tell me that Tom Brady isn't comparing what he's done to what Bill Belichick has done since they've been separated.
Oh, he's very pleased.
Of course he is. And no one can tell me that the other way.
Yeah.
Like Belichick's dying over here. First he's getting his ass beat, and then he's got to watch, Brady go win a Super Bowl, go to another Super Bowl, and then Brady comes home the other day. No!
And throw the Lombardi trophy from one boat to another. No, that couldn't have sat well with Belichick.
See, I don't know. Maybe I was just different, but I looked at everything. I don't know. I mean, if Anthony Richardson isn't looking at the other quarterbacks, I will bet you money at some point he will. I'll bet you. Contract time. Maybe if they lose a few games.
Serious. Then it's a practical matter. Yeah.
Because I think in the division, like again, I do the show on Outkick, and everybody's there from Nashville. They're all Tennessee Titans fans, and they're like, "Hey, look, if Will Levis or Malik Willis can pick up a ball and throw it from me to you, he's got to start," because they're so tired of Tannehill. So he may be comparing himself with Levis by the time this year is out.
You know what? That takes us to the rule of Bill Mallory.
What's that?
Be careful what you wish for.
Oh God, yes. Oh, God,
yes. Like you may indulge in a little bit of current time hatred of Ryan Tannehill, but when either Malik or Levis get under center, you're going to have a whole different kind of disappointment.
I have a story for everything. In my last couple of years, the first time I was at Indiana, my ex-wife didn't really want to go to football games if it wasn't perfect out or whatever. And so I'd go on the sidelines with my brother.
Yeah.
I'd get 2 sideline passes. And I'll never forget Mallory's last year, some fat-ass white guy. I can still remember his fat ass and his big white shirt. It looked like we could show movies on his fat-ass back. And about the 4th row, I was there on Mallory, we got to fire you, fire Mallory. And my brother first introduced me to the phrase, hey, Dan, tell you what, Indiana fans better be careful what they wish for.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's one of my life's mantras. Be careful what you wish for. And you're right. I mean, see, in the Colts world, I don't know how you felt, but I didn't even want to see Gardner Minshew in the game.
Right.
I understand he had to be, but I get it. Okay, fine. But I didn't want to see him in the game.
Right.
I'll give you something else. Is Steichen Nathaniel Hackett Part 2?
No.
He did not. He didn't kick a field goal.
He did
Game
not.
over.
I don't understand that. And I like points are good.
Did anybody ask him
points
that?
is bad. Yeah, he was asked about that, but I wasn't in there to hear the answer. I read it in the transcript. And he thought that it would be that they had a better chance. He felt good about their chance to push it into the end zone, get the onside kick, and kick the field goal, given where they were on the field. So, okay. But why didn't you kick the field goal early in the game? Not just in the last 2 minutes.
No, I know what you're saying.
Prior to that, they I think it was a 4th and 4 maybe that they got stopped. And I was like, why not take the 3? It's in the first half. What do you think is going to happen?
I swear to you, Kent, when you go for 2 in the 3rd quarter and you don't kick a field goal, it always comes back to bite you. It's like there's a heaven and then there's the football gods that sit there, Lombardi, all right? Yeah. We're going to screw that guy here coming up. Yeah. Whenever anybody chases points in the first or before the 4th quarter, invariably, you're
going to regret it.
I swear to you. Yep. I mean, I get it, okay, but damn, we saw that with the Mensa guy.
Yeah.
We saw that with Big Balls Frank.
Oof.
We saw
we talk about it every week, but analytics, the thing about analytics that's total horseshit is it doesn't take into account, the math doesn't take into account the ebb and the flow of the game, the health of a team, whether somebody's having a good game. There's so many different human variables that if you coach to math instead of humanity, you are always going to get bit in the ass. Always, 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 always. And these idiots continue to believe that analytics is the path to success, and it's not. It's the path to ruin.
Do you think a crutch? Hey, look, George Park said,
you
"Let's
bet
go,"
your ass.
right? Yeah,
you bet you. And
that's
right. Oh, yeah, strong go, bright green. I'm not the idiot. I did the right thing because the math told us 88%. Yeah, just total nonsense. And that's what he was about, was deflecting blame for anything that he did. When's that guy ever admitted a specific mistake, ever?
No, I forgot about that hard go or whatever the hell.
Yeah. Strong go.
I always tell people that I've never coached, I go, look, you can say that guy should take the shot, but if I'm looking at him and I know him, because I'm with him every day, and those eyes are telling me he ain't making that shot, I'm going to Kukos.
Yeah,
I'm not going to Pippen, right? That's coaching. That's where, people always say, I'll never forget, I was doing a halftime show with Kendall Gill, and he's like, you can tell a good coach by how well their out of bounds plays. I go, Kendall, you and I, if we devote an hour to practice, we get the greatest out of bounds plays. You can tell a good coach by how he handles stress, by how he handles, hey, look, my star ain't going, what do? Do I just give in? Do I give in to the analytics that he's my star like they do in football? That's coaching. Coaching is feel, man.
And so what happened with those Bulls teams? Jordan's having a bit of a tough time.
Yeah.
Goes to Paxson. Boom, 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 boom. 10 points, quick. Put the Lakers to sleep.
Yeah.
Then in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Boom. Kerr. Jordan didn't need to take the shot. Jordan knew how it worked. Phil knew how it worked.
Yeah, and that's where analytics it's just driven me crazy with the Colts. It really has, to your point. I just think it's a cover my ass situation. Yeah. And you know what? I hope Steichen can read the team. It's not easy. There's 100 guys, there's 53 guys or whatever, but that's the number one thing in coaching. It just is. You got to have a feel. Now you got to have talent.
The Colts are a 7-fork team.
Ooh.
You sit at your place setting and you got 7 forks. How many forks do you need to eat a meal? You need one. You need talented guys who are fast. That's it. You don't need the little fork on top of the thing to figure out what the hell you're doing. That's what analytics is. Yeah. Analytics is like the 7th fork.
Yeah, and can I ask you a question? I don't know the answer to this, but why was I saw this last year and I'm seeing it this year, and a lot of people have asked me about this. So I'll ask you. I see one of the Ursay daughters behind the coaches with a headset on taking notes.
Yeah, I don't know
what are we doing?
I don't know. I think she had been on the phone with Rick Greenspan.
Oh, jeez. Trying to get a blue ribbon committee together?
With his legal pad and his reading glasses, jotting furiously during the game. I'm not. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Is she listening to the coaches? Is she listening to the radio broadcast? I'm not sure what she's listening to.
I hope... Kent, I hope it's not the coaches, because I don't care. I just saw this episode of 30 Rock where Jack Donaghy, the boss, sat in on the writer's room, and they're like, get him the out of here. You can't have it. You can't have it. You can't have the boss's daughter in there because she's the boss. I mean, she's an owner. You got to let those guys do their thing, and if you're disappointed after, then, hey, you're the boss. Call the coach in and talk about it.
Go to the Kick the Stigma dinner. And raise money and have a great time and represent the organization with pride and passion. Do not try to learn football on the fly, on the sidelines, where guys are putting their lives at stake.
Oh, God, yes.
And this can't be a hobby, and this is a hobby.
Ken, you got to get everybody the F out of there on game day, on headsets, that can't give input. We don't need observers. We don't need anything other than people that we respect. We're paying a lot of money, and that's it. That's it. No freaking, hey, look, he won an auction. No. I'm the coach's granddaughter, and no. Honest to God, Kent, and I don't know if it's a problem or not. You made a good point. Maybe she's listening to the radio broadcast, and maybe she's listening to TV broadcasts. Maybe I don't know, but man, I don't get it. I'll never get it. That's bad business, Ken.
I'll tell you what she better not do, and that's watch the ball on punt coverage. If she's on the sidelines and she's watching the ball, she's going to get trucked by.
She's too close.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost got hit standing on the sidelines. I was with a guy named Tony Softly, who had a career in the NFL as a personnel guy. He was our sideline guy, and I was there. I shouldn't have been down there. I was way out of my, but I had a credential, so I'm standing there. I said, Tony, I almost got trucked. And he said, yeah, don't watch the ball, brother. No, ever. She shouldn't watch it. There's real stuff going on down there. This is a real place of business. And if you got business down there, take care of your business. But if you have no business down there, go back up in the suites and host people. And that's not a sexist thing. It's not about gender.
I'd say the same thing about Jimmy Irsay.
Absolutely.
Go up there and host people. Go be the owner. Go raise some money. Go get some sponsorship. Go do whatever.
Let the football people do the football stuff. And I know he's been a general manager, he was also the general manager because he was the owner's son.
Yeah, I don't care. I want, yes, he was, and I don't give a damn who it is. Just let the football people do it. All right, you mentioned punt return. Didn't go well for the Colts. Did we lose this game? Did the Colts, did the Colts lose this game because Bubba Ventrone isn't on the sideline? Is that what happened? Hey, coach. Where's the camera? Oh, there it is.
You sure don't, that's no good. Bubba at least had tape showing that he was pretty good at his job.
I agree.
This was not good, at all. And he acknowledged that. He talks to the media, and he acknowledged that they did all the wrong things. They've got guys not paying attention to the ball. They think that the ball's been downed. They're pursuing incorrect. There was a lot going on that was wrong, and you can't have a lot going on that's wrong.
No, but
you can't assume stuff.
In a game like that, one play is going to make a difference.
Yeah, you can lose. We kind of mock special teams a little bit as being sort of that orphan third group, but you can lose a game with that third group.
Oh, you can lose.
You're not going to win a bunch, but you're going to win. You're going to lose some.
I go back to what McAfee said when I was saying the Colts don't have playmakers. He called me up. He goes, Dan, I flipped the field 80 yards. Is that a playmaker?
Yeah,
I go,
right.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. And the Colts, I will say this, though, and I make fun of Bubba Ventrone, and it was mostly because he kept showing up on TV during Hard Knocks. Yeah. But Colts have been damn good with that. They got, McAfee quits, and now Sanchez is in there, and he's good. And the kick return, it's been fine.
It speaks to what Ballard does really well. And that's find 6th, 7th round guys who can do some stuff for you. And at the very least, like Jalen Jones, E.J. Speed was one of those guys before he became a really good linebacker. Those guys can play teams, and they can get you field position, and sometimes they get you the football.
No, I agree. No, you're the guy that said that. This is when we first started this. This is way back. You're like, nobody fills out 52 and 53 like Chris Ballard. That sumbitch can get it done. You're right. And that's where I guess it does show. I guess it does. Have we seen Nick Cross?
I saw him today in the locker room.
How'd he look?
He looked okay. He was sitting in front of the wrong locker. He was sitting in front of Zach Moss's. And I felt like saying, no, that's Moss, not Cross. But I don't have a relationship with Nick Cross. So, but what the media is taken to doing? They're auditing the locker contents for Jonathan Taylor. Because those lockers are right together, all the running backs. People are kind of looking in, trying to figure out whether stuff has moved, whether there's more or less. They're looking on Instagram. Oh, he reactivated his Colts pictures.
Oh, wow.
On Instagram.
That's big. Do you think Jonathan Taylor plays week 5?
Yes.
I do too. I'm going to ask you.
I think that was the plan the whole time.
I think that the agent came out and said that look at my wife just sneaking around so important shows.
Tiptoeing.
Yeah, very nice.
Look at that. Tote that long.
Didn't the agent or somebody come out and say that Jonathan Taylor could pass a physical right now?
Yeah.
When
you knew that, he's not out shopping himself for a trade and he can't pass a physical.
Yeah, it just makes me pissed off.
Yeah.
Get out here and play.
Yeah.
God, I think he'll be there week 5. I do. I think he'll be there. I think he'll probably be pretty good. When he comes out, will it be a standing ovation? Will it be boos? Or will it be malaise? I think I'm going to ask you this every week.
You know what?
Tell me.
There are people all over the place.
Yeah, that's
there?
what I mean.
There are people who really love him, and there are people who now have turned their back and shun him. I wonder.
No,
that's a great question.
I know, because people booed Luck at the end on that whole thing. Colts fans love.
And that was in the moment, right? That was in that moment that where they learned, and he had warmed up, and it was all this nonsense. This we've had time to process. So hopefully our behavior is a little more, I don't know, supportive. That's not right. I don't even care. You know what? He's a terrific running back. I don't care what amount of money he makes. Get somebody who can run the football and
win
let's go.
games.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, and this is kind of on the same subject. So the other day was Andrew Luck's birthday, and I put out that it was Andrew Luck's birthday. And I just put quitter across the top. And people lost their minds. I mean, I got political guys losing their minds. And of course, I do what I do. I double down on it. But here's the deal. We so vilify Victor Oladipo and Paul George. And everybody comes to the defense of Andrew Luck. All three had an injury. All three came back. All three said, I'm staying, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. Why do we vilify those two, but we don't vilify Andrew Luck? We love Andrew. Oh, he did the right thing for his family.
Which one of these is not like the others?
I
think that
I have a whole video.
Nobody's going to say, I'm a racist, and I like him because he's white, and I don't like these two guys because they're black. But you don't have to scrape down too far to find that in people.
I literally have a video that I thought to myself that might be unfair, but that's the first thing I thought. We like the white guy. I mean, the fans love those. The fans can't wait to stand up for Andrew Luck.
Right.
Can't wait. And Andrew Luck, for those of you just joining, played 16 games, played the Pro Bowl, told everybody, quote, it's the happiest I've been playing football. Mike Greenberg told you that the Luck family was not happy. I told you I walked out behind Oliver Luck. He was bitching about Pagano like it was his job. He was bitching. I'm just like, that's pretty interesting. But Oladipo, get him out of here. Paul George, you suck. You said in a softball game you're coming back. I think there's a lot of racism in there. I do.
I watched part of an interview with Sage Steele, what she did with Jason Whitlock. And she said, growing up in Carmel, her dad had a BMW because they had lived in Belgium, and BMWs are like Honda there.
Yes.
And so people at Carmel who really loved her, she says, said, "Oh, look at the black girl.
I know where you're
going,
man."
And she was made to feel odd. There's a life, like we try to empathize. It's impossible to empathize. I got a book by a guy named Michael Bennett. Things that piss black people off about white people, or white people off about black people, or whatever. And it's really, really good. He is a very, very smart guy, and he lays out a bunch of conversations that are racial that maybe whites don't see as that, but blacks sure do.
Yeah.
And there's evidence time after time after time after time that that's really the one thing that stands out, and Luck versus George and Oladipo is one of them. You got I'll say this though. Luck didn't play for anybody else, so there's that. And Luck has completely gone away and isn't talking about it. Like Paul George went off and kind of smoked the Pacers. Oladipo hadn't done that kind of thing, but all three of those guys turned into self-important weasels, and they do have that commonality. Does that make sense?
I don't think they're self-important weasels. I think human nature dictates. I'm not, and I never liked, but I think in this instance, it's almost human nature to say, hey, wait a second here. You know what? Fuck you people. You're killing me, which you can take to a certain level, and then finally you get tired of it.
Right.
I'm not saying either are right. I'm not saying, I think all three of them saying that. Honest to God, I kept getting all of this disdain from white dudes about me criticizing Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was every white dude with a beard and a Andrew Luck jersey. And I mean, it was constant. I'm like, hold up. You guys hate Oladipo. You guys hate Paul George. They're no different. All three had injuries. All three said we're staying. Hell, the Colts dragged old Peyton out there to say, yeah, we think Luck's going to have a great year. When he went to camp,
right,
and he was pissed. I had a guy tell me that knows Peyton. He was freaking hot that he got out there, talked about how Andrew Luck's going to be fine. And the next thing you know, this dude's walking out. You know? And I'm not sure about this, but the guy told me, just see if Peyton ever defends the Colts in any way again. I don't know whether he has or not.
It seems like that ship sailed. I don't hear a lot of good from.
I'm telling you, and he seems to be in Denver all the time.
Yeah.
But Oladipo, he got hurt. He came back. I love you. Leaves. All right. Yeah. Same thing with Luck. Same thing with George, and we dislike the two. And you said it. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad. What one thing does not look like the other? I think there's a lot of racism involved there. I do.
And, it doesn't stop at racism. When people are critical of Carson Wentz or Frank Reich, you'll get a lot of bounce back from people who are God-fearing Christians.
Sure.
You get a lot of that. When we see a common thread between us and somebody else, we tend to take personally criticism of those others. And that's neither good nor bad. I get it, but I don't have any ill will toward Wentz. He was just kind of a selfish guy who didn't get it. I mean, he's just a tone-deaf individual who didn't understand his place in the organization or in the world as a starting quarterback. That was my problem with Carson Wentz. I'm glad that he's a God-fearing Christian.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Frank Reich, too.
Yeah.
I got nothing against Christianity or religion. I think it's terrific.
You guys bash the Bible stuff. No, we don't. Not even a little bit.
See, again.
Carson Wentz goes to the church that I go to, and I really wanted to like Carson Wentz. I'll tell you why. Lee and I, not very often, we should. We get dressed up. And we're doing it tonight, actually, for a fundraiser. We get dressed up, we go to a nice dinner at a nice restaurant. And we went to Prime 47 up in Carmel. And it was Jared's birthday, my stepson. And Carson Wentz was there. But he was in a little room, not by himself. Other people were there, very unassuming. I saw him in church. He took his children to the children's thing. He sat there. He actually spoke at Traders Point, talked about, I wasn't there for that. I wanted to root for the guy.
Yeah.
I did. But then I'm watching Hard Knocks, Kent, and here's a tell. And every African-American dude watching this will tell you that I am right. Carson Wentz was talking about himself ad nauseum to Jonathan Taylor. And Jonathan Taylor, before Carson Wentz could get out this thing about himself, said, I already know. And every African-American dude will tell you when you go, I already know, that's signal for shut the fuck up. Yes. I don't want to hear more of your bullshit.
It's all over.
That's over.
Right.
And I saw that and I went, oh, and I said it on my show at the time and everybody told me I was nuts, but everything was me. Like, yeah. All right, okay, all right. And to your point, he just never learned his place. Like, you're the quarterback. You already get the me and I. You got to share the sugar.
Yeah.
And you got to make others feel better because you're getting the love.
And you also got from I've gotten this, you're just against anti-vaxxers. I don't care whether somebody got a vaccine or not.
His name is not Greg Doyle. It ain't Greg Doyle. It
My
ain't.
goodness.
Who gives it? I've said this about the NFL.
They keep throwing people into buckets. We're not bucket people.
You can say to me, Dan, you're a shut up and dribble guy. No, I'm not. NBA's long. You're going to say things in press conference. Sometimes it's interesting. But in the NFL, I don't give two shits. Yeah. The NFL is 17 games. Win a game, lose a game. I don't give a damn. I don't care about your vax, your non-vax, your sister's mother's uncle, your brother's a dickhead like Jackson Mahomes. I don't care about any of it.
Yeah.
Just win. They're 17. Baseball, hey, look, You bring up Pete David Crow or whatever the frick the guy. Great, hey Rob, we're building for the future. I don't give a shit about that in football. I don't care.
Pete Crow Armstrong?
Yeah. Hey, and there's enough guys, there's enough teams in the NFL that went from not making the playoffs the previous year to like going to the Super Bowl the next year. So I don't care about any of it.
How smart is the NFL? Like, that's a whole show. The NFL is insanely smart. The way they built the entire thing, it is the American, it's our touch point. It's the thing that we can all talk about. We used to talk about TV shows.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see this last night? Now it's the NFL, and that's about it. It's unbelievable.
If you missed All in the Family, you were behind next day at school or whatever. Oh, that's so true.
My parents would have a party at like 6 o'clock, and All in the Family came on at 7, right? Saturday nights. Party shut down at 7. Everybody piled into the den to watch All in the Family. Yeah. Everybody, you didn't miss it.
No. I never thought of it that way. I didn't. I never thought of, you know what, if you don't watch the weekend's NFL, you really don't know how to talk to people the next day.
Exactly right.
It's so true.
If you can't talk about the Colts, what kind of conversation are you going to have on Monday?
That's so true. Yeah. And you know what? This is what I told Lee the other day. I go, I don't think I'm a real man. Because I so looked forward to watching the Thursday night NFL game. And then I watched it for about 5 minutes. And hey, Lee, we're watching Painkillers on Netflix. You want to turn that on? And then I came back to it in the second half.
Yeah.
Like,
you going to watch Eagles-Vikings tonight?
I'm going to start. Oh, I'm going to a fundraiser, so no, I'm not. But I'm going to bet the balls off of it. I'm taking the Eagles big tonight because I don't think they crap the bed twice. All right, last thing.
Cousins can't play in primetime.
That's right.
We know that.
Yeah, Hurts can.
Yeah.
All right, last thing. You and I, Bears fans, know the history of the Bears. I got to tell you, I know little Zachy Kiefer, and those guys would call him Fluss. Fluss sucks. That was the worst coached team. And what's his name? Justin Fields?
Yeah.
He sucks.
Yeah.
I want him to be good. They suck, Kent.
And Claypool played like he wanted to be someplace else. And what have we been saying? From the time that the Bears hired him, I was like, what? Wait, the Colts were just going to fire him. Wait, he got promoted somewhere else? Only the Bears would pull that shit. That they would take a defensive coordinator who was about to be punted on Indianapolis and elevate him to a place of even greater importance within their organization. They will stop at nothing to save money. The McCaskies, okay, who's of all the candidates for this job, who's the cheapest? Matt Eberflus.
Yeah.
Hire him. That's exactly what they did.
Would you agree with this? There was no statistical data, and by statistical data, I mean wins and losses, defensive rank, that would lead anybody to hire Matt Eberflus as the head coach.
None. His defense created turnovers.
Yeah, I guess.
That's it.
All right.
But that's not, hey, I'm a head coach.
No.
You've got to be more than that. He is this sounds like, I don't know whether he's a party to some kind of religion. So I have no idea. Don't think I'm going there. But there is nothing charismatic about him. And a coach needs to walk into a room and own it. And there is no ownership of a room by Matt Eberflus when he's in it. Zero.
I've told you this forever. Lee grew up with him. Lee's ex-husband, Jim, who stayed at my house this weekend, which is weird, but we like it. Works for us. Don't judge. Great friends. So I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. But there was nothing about him.
No.
Like, he would do a press conference, and you're like, all right, well, he's the JV coach at Carmel.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, he's the Chicago freaking Bears head coach.
Yeah.
And they're getting what they deserve.
Yeah.
I tried to watch that. Like, I thought Justin Fields, this is the year. Man, he's talented. Horrendous.
Yeah.
No organization.
Right.
Nothing you could point to. Colts could point to a quarterback.
Yep.
I watched that Bears game. There's nothing. Zero.
In like Steichen, I like Steichen.
Okay.
And I liked Eberflus. Like, you could ask him questions, and he'd kind of give you an answer. And personally, I thought he was a nice guy, but not in my wildest imagination did I ever believe he was going to be the head coach of any NFL franchise, much less what coaches have succeeded for the Bears. Really, it's Lovie Smith and Mike Ditka, right? And then Hallis. I don't know whether Lovie was really dynamic, but Chicago loves a hard scrabble, kick-ass guy. Yeah. Matt Eberflus is the least like that of any coach I know.
Matt Eberflus was, let me ask you this. I would almost say he's like the perfect representative of analytics in football. Yeah. There's nothing there, I guess, maybe except for some I don't know, but
he's big in reverse engineering wins. You know what I mean? If we win the turnover battle by X amount and we field position, blah, 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 it all comes down to math. And I'm like, well, look, I don't know what happened at the auto dealership in Canton, Ohio with Hallis and all the guys who founded the NFL. But they were not talking about math.
No.
I'm certain they weren't talking
about
math.
Not even the math of money they could make.
No.
When the first game was in Dayton, right? The first football game ever was in Dayton.
I think so.
Yeah. I remember going to the site. I guarantee you, they just wanted to get a team and a game, two teams, a game going, and let's see what the hell happens and who wins.
Let's knock the hell out of each other. And I don't, you can get way too smart for the room, and I think football is like baseball. At least with baseball, it's man on man. Mm-hmm. You say, okay, it's Bruce Sutter and blah, 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 whatever. Yeah. I got to hit against that guy. With football, you got 11 guys playing against 11 guys. There are way too many variables in order to trust anything analytic.
All right, last thing. AFC South still the worst?
Oh. Ooh. Yeah, because I think the Packers and the Lions are actually decent.
I got to tell you, I'll take me some Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Jordan Love in his first start goes into Chicago, beats their ass, throws for 253 touchdowns, and that's a pressure situation.
Yeah.
Because the Bears and the Bears fans are like, all right, our daddy's gone.
Yeah.
Right? He's gone.
First time since '93 that it hadn't been Favre or Rodgers.
How about that?
Yeah.
And they still get their ass whipped. There was two teams. There was a couple people and teams that impressed the living hell out of me. Two impressed the living shit out of me with Tyreek Hill. That's going to be a problem for people.
Yeah, right.
That's going to be a real problem. The 49ers, I swear to God, you or I could quarterback, and we'll go in and beat Pittsburgh 30-7. I mean, Brock Purdy, we can't find a quarterback, and they got him last pick.
Really good.
Really good.
It's not. I kept thinking, well, the defense is really good.
Right.
That you got weapons, but he's really good too. So
and so those two teams. I mean, Dallas was ridiculously good.
Yeah.
That
defense. Holy crap! They're 85 Bears like. Micah Parsons is unbelievable.
Yeah, Micah Parsons. Somebody showed this film. He was being double teamed. And it was literally, it didn't affect him. He had to take one step sideways to beat the whole thing and get to the quarterback. You've seen how wide the guard is, how wide the tackle is. Yeah. They showed it on NFL Network. He literally got in a sprint, took a step, went that way or that way, whichever way, and got to the quarterback.
40-0. If you got guys who can get to the quarterback, you're going to win football games. And they got guys.
Last thing. Did you like anything about the Colts pass rush?
I thought Kwity Paye was pretty effective, and I like both tackles.
Yeah.
I like Stewart. I think Grover Stewart is, and I talked to him today, and I asked him, I waited till the end, because you talk contracts with guys. They get very tight-lipped. So you wait. And so I'm asking him all this other crap, and then I'm like, how about the contract? You thinking about contract? He's like, nah, I just go out and play. I said, it's got nothing to do with your level of play. He's like, no, man. It's got something to do with his level of play. I mean, he's ready. He is going to have a terrific season. I like him a lot. He's a great dude.
And you know what? Zaire Franklin's going to have a great season. And one of the reasons is, as you said earlier, because Grover Stewart will occupy some big guys.
Yep.
That's exactly right. Well, we love you. Just Add Water Boats is this week's sponsor. We'll have another sponsor next week. If you want your organization to sponsor, hit me up at dandockage.com or hit Ken up and send us shirts.
Can you tell this is Dan's shirt? Can you tell? And can you tell that this is a guy who owns the boat?
Yeah, I got a free boat. Kidding me?
Look at this. I got to straighten everything out.
No kidding. You're skinny.
Oh, all I've eaten the last week is pizza. I ate pizza twice yesterday. I can't stop eating pizza. I got to stop. Hey,
last thing. Where's your pizza from?
I got a Giacomo's. Julie and I got
Giacomo's
Sunday.
You brought that to my house.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And then, what did we get? Pacini's or something like that
other
day? And, I got Noble Romans last week. Because Noble Romans makes me think about Bloomington.
The headquarters.
Yeah.
Last thing. You ready?
Yeah.
Have you ever gone and gotten an IV? One of those vitamin B, vitamin C IVs?
No.
I got to go to a fundraiser tonight, Kent, and I go to bed at 9:30. This thing is a 5-course meal. It's for my friend Jeremiah, who owns Prime 47 up in Carmel. So I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go get me one of them IVs so I can stay awake. Well, I'm only going to have 2 glasses of wine, and I'm going to eat. And I'll be asleep at the table. So I'm like, so Knezovich used to do that.
Really?
Yeah, and, it's more of a hangover thing. So I go out to this place earlier today.
Yeah.
I go and I walk in and I'm thinking, all right, maybe $50 for a 20-minute deal. It's $200. I'm like, hey, see you.
Thanks so much.
No, I'm going to go take some Excedrin. I'm going to down some Celsius. Screw that.
See, I do. Celsius is the most
Game
wonderful.
changer.
Oh my God, you're for sure.
Yeah.
I'll do that, but I try not to cheat because my body's trying to tell me something, right? I try to listen to my body. When my body says, oof, you know what? Maybe it's been a really good summer, but it's time not to do summer things anymore. I pull the reins back and I go in a different direction.
My body currently is full of blood spinning by QC Kinetics on my left knee. That's I will tell anybody this. That has changed my life. People say, well, do you really? No, I do it. Testosterone by Affinity Whole Health. Ozempic, which is the losing weight thing. My wife gives me 2 shots every Wednesday night.
Of Ozempic?
No, gives me a testosterone shot.
Is that the one with the big lady in the flowery dress that dances with her arms and doesn't move her feet?
Could be.
Okay.
This one, Charles Barkley. It's the celebrity drug. So Affinity Whole Health.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you right now, that shit with Affinity Whole Health, that testosterone, I go 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Really?
Oh, I go 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's the best thing I've ever done. That and I got a hairy back. I love it. I do. I go, and then I fall asleep. I crash. Like, I go 1,000,000, like, you saw me out there watering grass and shit. I got a whole thing I got to do today, and I'll be great with it. But then there comes a time when I know the day's over, and I take me a nap.
Yeah.
Like an 8-hour nap.
Naps, I've
never
come to enjoy.
You like naps during the day?
I don't do it very often, but if I've got like a spare 40 minutes, lay down, put on Turner Classic Movies, and then, something will jar me awake, and I only 40 minutes. And then I'll go do something. But like you can't, if you're going to get up at like 5 a.m, you can't stay up late, or there comes a reckoning.
That's when you get up, right? Do you show?
Yeah.
All right, last thing. Colts win or lose? What score?
Win. 31-20.
I got 24-10.
Nice.
I think they win. I think they win by 2 touchdowns. I don't know. I haven't looked at the spread or the line, but I think they win by 2. I think Houston's horrible.
I think they're really bad.
Yeah.
And Laramie Tunsil didn't practice yesterday.
That's good. He's
on the injury report. I don't think they got anything that's going to mess you up. Their defense doesn't bother me at all. They got J.J. Watt isn't over there anymore.
Merciless, Watt, Clowney.
Right.
They had a pretty good guy. Jonathan Jones or whatever his name is. They had pretty good guys.
You got to have good guys to win. Go figure. It's not about math. It's about people.
You got to have good guys to have a great show, and we thank you. This is our longest show ever. But, hey, it's the season.
Oh,
can we do one on Monday?
Yes.
Monday. We'll be right back here. See you.